of Acts records this moment in which Paul and Silas were arrested. And now they're in prison. At this moment, it wasn't a nice house arrest. They're in a prison. They're shackled behind bars. And it says in Acts chapter 16 that at this moment, they started to complain to God. They started to cry out to God and curse him. They started to complain to the other people in that jail and say, well, we're here, don't believe in Jesus because look at us, look at our problems. We're right here, right along with you sinners, and I guess we're sinners too now. We failed God, we're not good enough, or he doesn't want us anymore. No, none of that. It was in the prison that it says about midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and they were singing hymns to God. They were worshiping the Lord. They were praising the name, and the other prisoners were listening to them. In other words, may your character, may who you are, your testimony, may your gentleness be evident to everyone around you. Paul could say that because when he was with Silas in that prison, he started to worship along with him. And he said, Silas, come on, help me out. I'm not a good singer, but you got a little bit better tone there. Come on, help me out. Start singing with me. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is, come on. So sing louder, Silas, come on. And he started singing and they started worshiping. And the other listeners were listening, or the other prisoners were listening to them. And suddenly there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken. You think that God is not going to move on their behalf when they choose to worship and praise and be a testimony to others, even though they're in a prison cell? It's in that moment where the earth began to shake and the foundations of the prison were shaken. And at once, all the prison doors flew open and everyone's chains came loose. You're talking about freedom in our worship. You're talking about praise shifting the atmosphere, shifting how we look at the world in our worry, in our doubts, in our anxiety, in our depression. Oh, Lord, you are good and you're going to do it again. You've never failed me yet. You've never failed me yet. I trust in you, God. I trust in you, God. You've done it before. You're going to do it again. Oh, let the earth be shaken below you. Let the world be moved and shifted around you because God is in control and you're not going to allow the problems. There's some of you that I would hate to be in a prison cell with you. You are so boring. You will just simply sit there and just bitter and angry. And just look at the clock and cross out calendar days and just be worried there and just trying to figure out other ways to get out. I want to be next to those of you that know how to worship and praise. I need some Silases and some Pauls. I need some of you to stop complaining and stop thinking about how big the problem is. And you start to worship him and you start to lift him up even in the middle. Were they still in the prison? Yes. Was it midnight? The middle of the darkness? Yes. The sun wasn't even coming up yet. It was right there, the longest part of the night. But it was there that they chose to still worship him. I don't know what prison cell you're in today. I don't know what the problem is for you today. I don't know how much need you have today, but God does know. And if you worship him in that storm, the chains will be broken and you will be freed. Hallelujah.